Hello, everybody. Greetings and blessings from the staff here at St. Peter the Fisherman. It's the Feast of the Annunciation today when God broke into the ordinary, maybe even boring life of a young girl in Nazareth to announce incredible news that would change the world. And we celebrate that feast today by doing what we can to proclaim the good news of God's love to all of you today, and to pray together and to plan together and to see how we can best be church to one another. Did you hear about the guy who took his goldfish to the vet, and he brings in the goldfish bowl and the goldfish, and he says to the vet, "I think my fish is sick." "Oh, really?" The vet says. "What's wrong with your fish?" "Well, he keeps having seizures." So the vet took the goldfish bowl, held it in his hands, and looked and watched the fish for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and he said to the guy, "Well, the fish seems perfectly good to me." And the guy says, "Well, that's because he's not out of the bowl yet." Let me tell you, I feel like the house I live in, a great big house, much larger than a fish bowl, is very much like a fish bowl. And I feel like that fish. And sometimes I think to myself, I'd risk a seizure just to be able to leave the house and go hang out with all of you and see all of you again. But then I come to my senses and say, no, that'll happen in time. So I, along with all of us, I'm sure, are trying to do the best we can to be careful, be prayerful, and be open to the grace of the moment in whatever way, shape, or form we experience that during these days. We are all, I'm sure, trying to stay busy. Just as an example of that, the other day, I'm getting the parish mail at the house. It comes to the breezeway between the garage and the house. And because when the office is closed, then the mail person can't deliver it. So I'm getting all the mail. Well, I went out to get the mail the other day, and one of the pieces of mail fell on the floor. And I looked down and it said, "Do not bend." It took me half an hour to figure out how to pick it up. It's absolutely amazing, with a little ingenuity and creativity, how we can stay busy. And so I hope that you too are finding ways of staying busy and being careful and prayerful. And we absolutely send our best to all of you. And like all of you, yearn for the days when we can all be together again.
Hey, but I want to know how you picked up that envelope.
That is my secret.
Who explained to you that you were able to pick it up?
I did it with my prehensile toes.
Oh.
I grabbed it and it was amazing.
Gee, folks, aren't you glad there's a quarantine?
Yes, you're spared.
Yeah. Well, like Father Dave said, we just wanted to take a moment, aside from just putting type and copy all over Facebook and things you have to read that are kind of impersonal. We wanted to check into your living rooms and your offices, wherever you're sitting and looking at this right now, to say hi from all of us. And we thought this would be a good time for us to just give you some updates about what's been happening. It seems like things happen daily that change the landscape of our church and our communities.
Usually late in the day.
Yeah, usually late in the
it's
day.
almost impossible to react to it.
And so we always seem to be getting things at about dinner time or later, and then trying to share them with you the next day. So I'm just going to share with you, we got this yesterday. This is the newest directive from the diocese, from Bishop Rickett. And it's, from what they say, based on Governor Evers' most recent order about the stay-at-home, or shelter-in-place, or whatever he's calling it.
Safe at home.
Safe at home,
Safe at home.
directive from Governor Evers. The church had to adjust, and then when they adjusted, they sent it to me, And now we're adjusting a little bit along with that. So I'm just going to read it to you. Yesterday I received this from the diocese. Dear fellow priests and pastoral leaders, the Diocese of Green Bay has received guidance from the Wisconsin Catholic Conference and together have both identified that our curia, parishes and schools, qualify as organizations that provide charitable and social services and thereby qualify as essential business and are encouraged to remain open. This means that provided that employees comply with social distancing requirements to the extent that that's possible, our curia, parishes, and schools are able to carry out the minimum necessary activities to keep our buildings and grounds preserved, ensure security, process payroll and employee benefits, or for other related functions. For this reason, minimum essential staff should continue to report to the diocesan, parish, and school offices as needed, and any other employees who are able to should work remotely do so from home for the duration of the order. So basically what that means is we've been kind of functioning here every day. Most everybody's been coming in and out of the building. We're kind of stopping that. We've also been open from 8 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. We're also going to change that. We're doing this in an effort to cooperate with the state and with the diocese and their directives to hopefully bring this COVID-19 thing to a quicker halt. And so what we're going to do starting tomorrow, we'll be open from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and that includes the church and the parish office. So if you want to go in and you want to pray for a little while and spend some time inside of our church, you're welcome to do that between 9 and 11. We only ask that if there are other people there that you just keep that 10 feet-ish apart between you. So we'll do that. We'll keep that going. And if you need to stop at the office to buy script or do something else, you can stop then there and do that. But then we'll be closed. So 9 to 11, we'll be checking our emails, our voicemail on our cell phones. We'll be checking the messages here at the parish office regularly. Father Dave will be getting the mail and bringing it over to the office. So we'll still kind of be in contact with everybody, but we're all just going to spread out a little bit more so that we stay safer and hopefully bring this thing to an end a lot quicker. If you're interested, I talked to Father Doug LeCaptain, who's the pastor over in Manitowoc at St. Francis of Assisi. Yesterday, he and I spoke on the phone, and he said their church on Waldo only is open from 1 in the afternoon till 5 in the evening. Now, I don't know if they've adjusted that today also because of what has happened, but as of yesterday, he said they are open from 1 to 5 in the afternoon, and they have one person in the office at the time. So you could come here theoretically in the morning from 9 to 11 if you really wanted to. If you can't make that, you could drive over to St. Francis on Waldo, the old HI site as we know it, us locals, and you could spend some time there in prayer as well if you really want to. So you have the two options between our two parishes, which is a nice thing to have. But we're just trying to, like I said, comply with the governor's order, comply with what the bishop would like us to do, and most importantly, keep us all safe, healthy, so that this thing ends quickly so that we can get back to our normal parish routine, because quite frankly, this isn't a lot of fun for us either. You can see us holed up in this bunker today, having our little meeting. We just had lunch together, but we miss each other as a staff. We don't get to see each other every day, and we most especially miss you. So we're hoping that if we follow these things, that this can all be over a lot quicker. We can get back to our normal faith life as we know it. But until then, we'll do what we have to do to make it work and to keep our parish going and to keep our community going. And we'll try to do this, I think, what we're doing right now, little meetings, little chats for online regularly.
Better jokes.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Father
We'll
Dave
see how it goes.
puts up his jokes, yeah. And we'll be recording our masses. And so speaking of recording our masses, I will ask John now to kind of fill you in on what we're doing there so that you understand what's happening.
Yeah, like Deacon Paul said, we truly miss you. It's really sad to do mass to an empty congregation. There's no passion in it from all of you guys there, so we miss you a lot. But we are streaming our Mass on our website, which is spfcp.org, which is St. Peter the Fisherman Catholic Parish.org. And it's also on our Facebook. If you haven't followed our Facebook yet, please go there and do so if you have Facebook, which is really easy. You just type in St. Peter the Fisherman and you'll see us pop up in a search bar. We will be streaming the weekend Mass at 4 p.m. on Saturdays. So you can log in anytime after 4 p.m. either on our website or on Facebook, and I promise you can see the whole Mass. We've had some questions about people not, what if I get there at 4:05? We have it set up so that you can see the entire Mass, and it'll be on there for quite some time. So you have plenty of time to see the entire Mass. Doesn't matter if you log in on Saturday at 4 p.m. or Sunday at 8 a.m. You'll still see the whole Mass. So please do that because it gives you a chance to hear Father Dave's wonderful messages and his jokes once again.
I shouldn't say that. Nobody will tune in.
Okay.
No.
Well, despite his jokes, please tune in to
No
pray with
jokes.
us.
I gave jokes up for Lent.
He failed miserably. Don't worry.
No, he did.
One of the other things that we're doing is we have to continue to pray. I think throughout all the statistics and all the logistics of all this COVID-19 stuff, we have to stay rooted in prayer. So one of the things we've been doing is putting up a daily reflection, just to give you a chance to read the gospel and hear a reflection from various people. I know Deacon Tom will talk to you about another way to pray later, but please just tune in and follow our website and follow our Facebook. We'll put as much up as we can. So I'll let you.
Thanks. Let me also say that we miss your kids. I miss you too, but we really do miss your kids. I've talked to a number of our teachers, our core members. So those grade 1 to 5 teachers, our middle school, as well as the high school core members, all really feel the loss of that contact. Please keep an eye on your emails. I'm trying to do everything we can to get you information, number one, about just the schedule. Right now, we've been told that we're out of commission till April 24th. And that pretty much ends our religious ed program. However, it does leave the first communion date. It does leave our confirmation date intact. We'll see as we go forward. And so that email is real important to let you know what the latest is on what our plans are. Those grade 1 through grade 5 students will be sending you, mothers and dads, some information about what you can do so you can have some fun with them and still keep them in touch with faith formation as I try to get you info so you can also accomplish what it is we would have hoped to accomplish in these last few meetings we would have had with them. Middle school and high school, same thing. We'll send you some information so you as a family might have an opportunity to spend some time talking about some of the issues, looking at some videos, just spending time talking about your faith as a family. And if that's something you can use, great. In addition, those people that are going through confirmation, some of you owe me some work yet. I'm sending you emails to let you know about that. So please, that is something we need to get done, especially if you're looking to be confirmed. That's one of the things I can't change. The bishop's rule is you have to go through 6 semesters as well as the 12 hours of religious education to be confirmed. So I'll do everything I can to make that easy to do. I'm not gonna lie to you though. Google Classroom turns out to be a little tougher than I thought it was. So bear with me. We'll get that done. We'll just figure out a way to be kind to each other as we work through this. Finally, I am recording and putting up both on our Facebook page, on the Youth Ministry Facebook page, on our website, as well as a link on our Twitter feed, as well as on the Instagram feeds that we do. The Rosary on a daily basis. That's one way that we can pray together. I'll try also to do Divine Mercy Chaplet as we get through this a little further. All of that is just designed to give you an opportunity to pray with someone else. I know that for me, I miss the community of praying the Liturgy of the Hours, for example, with other deacons. It's not as much fun to do it yourself, so I enjoy doing it with a recorded version of it. It makes me kind of feel like I've got someone there with me. And that's the reason I'm doing these rosary recordings. Hopefully you'll feel like you're there with someone else, someone who has the opportunity to pray with you and give you a chance to continue to stay close to God as we go through this difficult time. None of us are having a great time with this. We're all in the same boat together. We're all in the same desert. But the truth is that stripped of everything, and I think it was last week's homily, Father Dave made this point, you know, if God was asking us what we were going to give up for Lent, he offered us an answer maybe none of us were expecting. Everything. Basically, all those things that we value have suddenly changed dramatically. And what we're left with, I'd suggest, is that which is most essential. And that's each other, our families, and our opportunity to stay in touch with each other and to hold together as a faith community. Thank you for those of you that have been so understanding about my initial bumbling attempts to make Google Classroom work. Thank you for those students that are sending in the work that they owe. And the rest of you, please work on that stuff. I'll stay in touch with you. And families, please keep an eye out for emails, information that we send out that will tell you the latest about what's going to happen, particularly with First Communion and Confirmation.
Awesome. Actually, let me jump in. We mentioned that we're going to be streaming our masses. One thing I forgot to talk about was Holy Week, which is coming up here very shortly. And believe me, there's no one sadder than me and all of us here that we cannot celebrate Holy Week with you. So we are going to be streaming Holy Week just like the times that they would be here. So we will have, obviously Palm Sunday will be available on Saturday at 4 p.m. as usual. We will have Holy Thursday live streamed at 7 p.m. We'll have that Good Friday service streaming at 12 p.m. And then Easter Vigil will go live at 8:15 p.m. and Easter Sunday I think we do a live stream mass. We haven't determined the time on that one yet though. I think
Probably 8.
Will we do 8 o'clock? Okay. So we'll do Easter Sunday at 8 a.m. Just so you guys can celebrate with us. It's sad that you can't be here with us, but we will constantly pray for you and obviously pray for us too.
With all of that, just keep watching Facebook and the website and emails from Tom and so on and so forth. Because I said it seems to change almost. As soon as we make plans, something changes. So we don't know. I think that's what Tom was driving at. You know, we don't know. We can make all the plans in the world, and by Friday they could all be changed. So just keep an eye on the communication from the parish. We're doing our best to kind of get word out however we can. I know it's difficult for some people don't have computers and whatever. We're trying to figure out different ways to do that, most effective ways, but those are the best ways we can get off Facebook and on our website to get to large groups of people. Speaking of that, the Mass we had online this past weekend, we had, I think, 6,300 and some odd people who saw that Mass. 6,300 and some odd people. I can only say that's because of Dave Plyer, our rock star.
Oh.
He knows everybody in Northeast Wisconsin, and he's best friends with all of them. And so we figure it's got to be the Plyer effect on our Mass, because we don't get 6,300 people a week at the Mass. I wish we did, but we don't. So thanks, Father Dave.
We'll give you some credit, but don't worry.
Yeah,
It's still
no.
people who want Jesus.
I think God might have had a little hand in it.
Hey, before we wrap this up here today, one thing Pope Francis said last week in one of his homilies was that we cannot forget the poor throughout all this, because everybody is suffering here. And one thing we were going to do last weekend for Mass was we were going to do the reverse collection for TREP, our Two Rivers Ecumenical Pantry. And unfortunately, since you guys all weren't here to do that, they aren't going to get those donations. So if you could, some of the things that they were asking for are pretty simple. When you go grocery shopping, if you could get like pancake, syrup mix, tuna helper, hamburger helper, any kind of meals in a can, like ravioli or something like that, baked beans, pork and beans, jelly. They could obviously use toilet paper and cleaning supplies, which I know everybody's looking for right now, but instead of hoarding your toilet paper, if you could donate some of that, that'd be absolutely wonderful. They asked if you could bring your donations to the church. I don't know if you guys know, but inside both of our church entrances, there are boxes for TREP. They're white and blue boxes, and you can donate and drop off your donations there between the hours of 9 and 11 a.m. And if you could do that, that would be wonderful. You'd help Two Rivers and Mishicot and our Lakeshore community a lot, and they'd really appreciate it.
And speaking of that, I know that Sheila also checked in with St. Vincent de Paul, and they're closed right now, but they said if you come to the back door, we usually leave donations and knock
on it.
somebody should answer if you need immediate assistance or you know somebody needs immediate assistance with something. So they're still kind of available, and we, of course, the directors from our parish, if you really need something and know somebody that's in a really bad jam and TREP isn't working out, we can try at St. Vincent de Paul, we can call the director ourselves from here and try and get help that way. Last but not least, before we close, and we're talking about all these donations, you know, it's never a fun topic to talk about, but the church needs your donations also at this time. Usually we count on a lot of tithing collections when people come in for masses, the 3 masses on the weekend. We still need those. If we're going to have a strong, sustained church by the time this whole crisis is over, if you can, we ask you to please tithe, mail your donations into the office. We'll get them over at Father Dave's, or stop in between 9 and 11 and drop them off. Or the best thing to do is, like my wife and I do, and I think you guys do too, is we do automatic withdrawal from our bank account. So you can set that up with Lisa Toddy here at Parish anytime, and it's just always removed on a weekly basis from our I think monthly. You can set it up however you want, but that's a great way to do it too. But you know, I hate to bring up those things at a time of crisis, but our parish is in crisis also. So if you could still tithe and make donations, we would greatly appreciate that. So that when this is done, we have a very strong and still viable community that isn't really suffering as well, trying to keep up with all the different bills in the building. We have to keep going, and all the other expenses that go with running an organization this large. So we would appreciate that very much. And thank you for your continued generosity in every way. Father Dave.
Just a reminder, and many of us are already doing this, but check on your elderly friends, neighbors, relatives, particularly those who live alone. Give them a call. You're not bothering them, you're making their day. And they are in a state of, I think, even greater anxiety than most of us. And even as I say that, I have to chuckle to myself because a lot of you have been checking up on me. So
He likes the soup you're bringing.
I must be on the elderly list of people that people are concerned about.
Keep bringing him food, because we're tired of feeding him all the time.
You know, there is a disease that is worse than the coronavirus, and that's isolation.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Especially for this extrovert.
we're a community. We're a community who needs to care about each other now more than ever. Maybe it's someone you've never talked to, but you know they live right around the corner from you, and you've seen them at church, but you've just never had the opportunity, or maybe even the desire, to talk to them for whatever reason. This is the time where it pays to at least make a phone call. Maybe you've got little kids and they want to color something. Drop off a couple of the things they color to that person that's the one you never talked to, that is right down your block. They would enjoy those sorts of things. This is really a time for us to come together. We appreciate how supportive you've been of what you've done here for the parish. but take some time to support each other as well. We'll try to do what we can, but we're all in this together.
And so we'll end as we began. On this Feast of the Annunciation, the Holy Father invited us to all say, people throughout the world, to say a Lord's Prayer and Our Father together at noon Vatican City time, which should have been 6 in the morning here. Now, some perhaps were not up at 6 in the morning, but fortunately God is beyond time. So God can think at 6 in the morning and
though we
hear our prayer as we all say it together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. God bless.
Bye, everybody.
See
See
ya.
you
We
soon.
miss you.
We miss you. Bring Father Dave food.
Oh, stop.
Yeah,
I don't
stop,
need anything
yeah.
to eat. I don't need anything to eat.
Yes, he does.